Well, I guess it's the heat about Rocky. I'd constantly be asked about by people who said, "Well, why did you move to Rocky? You know, didn't you know how hot it was going to be, and how can you stand the heat?" And I go, "Well, that's what I came for, you know," and it's delivered beautifully. So the climate is absolutely spectacular here. Even when it's hot, it's still spectacular, and the winters are beautiful. So I will miss that, and I know where I'm going back to. The day that I was announced as Dean at the University of Alberta, Edmonton was officially designated as the coldest city on the planet, and that was the headline in the local news, in the Edmonton Journal, and in that same paper was the announcement of me being Dean, and all my old friends and colleagues from Edmonton, except one, sent me emails saying, "Do you know how cold it is, and do you know what you're doing?" And I thanked the one person who didn't point out how cold it was. And he got back to me and said, yeah, that was something that he thought of doing. So certainly the climate, but I think more than anything, Rockhampton, the thing that strikes me about Rockhampton is the people that have the worst opinion of Rockhampton are people who've never lived anywhere else. I think people who've lived elsewhere realize that Rocky's got a great climate. It's a center where people really do pull together to do things, and I think that was the thing that I found with CQU, or now CQUniversity as well, is a lot of people, and that goes back to former deans that I've worked with and current PVCs and current vice chancellors. When I had ideas, they supported them, and that was fabulous. And I think that's something that people have to realize, that when they come here, and there's a lot of people who complain about the bureaucracy of universities. They have to understand that's everywhere, and it's not only in universities, it's in any big organization, you get bureaucracies. I found the intent of CQU over the years to be extremely positive and supportive of people who will do stuff, and I'm just thankful that they gave me all the opportunities and support they did and put me in a position where somebody's offered me a job elsewhere. And I also said, I got an email, I sent emails to the people that I'm on my faculty management team that I'm going to be the dean of, and I asked them a few questions and then said, well, do you have any questions of me? And one person said, well, two people actually came back and said, well, why did you apply for this job? And my answer was, well, I actually didn't apply for the job. I was recruited to the job and initially didn't think I'd apply, but then said, oh no, it would be a fantastic job. University of Alberta is my alma mater, and it's a large and prestigious university. But I said, the advice I give many people is the best time to look for a job is when you don't really want one. And I said, I don't want to hire people who are trying to run away from anything, so be happy where you are. And I was very happy here, and I'll be very, very sad to leave. And I am very sad to leave. I don't like going to these sort of things because they may make me sad. I just soon avoid them, but I won't. 10,000 Steps is an interesting study because as far as a true research project goes, we only had a very, very minor effect that we were able to measure and publish. What we were really successful in doing was promoting the brand, and a lot of that came through publicity by people such as yourself, more than the actual research or anything. There's a funny story on how I think 10,000 Steps actually broke big time. And that was that our first foray into national publicity was through the old Bulletin magazine. And it was a reporter named Melissa Sweet, I believe was her name. And she wrote a story on the 10,000 Steps project before we launched it. And that story begat a TV crew that came up and did an interview with us for Today Tonight, which I was thrilled at the time, and then started to watch Today Tonight and wasn't quite as thrilled because we were mixed in with all sorts of weight loss things. But after that, that begat two major presentations on the 730 report. So they sent a big crew up and everything to the 730 report. Well, once we did the 730 report, then and this was back at a time when Rocky had been going through a little bit of rough time. We had a few serial killers and murderers of children and things like that. So we had a particularly bad reputation being, sent across the country. So this was something that went on ABC 730 and was a very positive thing. Well, as soon as that hit nationally, then the doors opened locally for us every time we said we're from the 10,000 Steps Project. Well, the funny bit about it is that Melissa Sweet, who wrote the initial 10,000 Steps project, was a very positive thing. As soon as that hit nationally, then the doors opened locally for us every time we said we're from the 10,000 Steps Project. Well, the funny bit about it is that Melissa Sweet, who wrote the initial piece that really got this sort of sequence of events going. The reason she wrote the piece is because her sister was getting married in Rockhampton and she needed to find a way to write off her trip. So, you know, all the best plans, there's really some things that happen, and because of them, big things grow. And I think that that was the thing, because once we got on 730 Report, then all of a sudden there was a great support locally for what before was only moderate support. And then it became a great support because, of course, we were portraying Rocky nationwide in a very positive light, doing some very innovative stuff. So if Militia watches this, thanks to her sister for getting married. It was great. Well, I think the biggest enjoyment I've had was developing the population research lab, and the people that have worked through the lab, and all the people that come in and do the surveys with us there. And there's always a few stories that come back from our researchers who you know, randomly dial thousands of people a year in our surveys. And one was about some fellow who had to excuse himself from the phone to go kill a brown snake, and after much commotion came back and completed the survey. And the other one was a woman who answered the phone and said that this is the first time she was having sex in 10 years, and why would we phone? And I guess our question was, well, why did you answer? So the Population Research Lab was, and still is, a great accomplishment that I hold very dear to it, and it will be ongoing. We've got great people who work in there, and I've managed through no real plan of my own to extract myself from it, so it runs even because of me, I guess, and it certainly runs without me. So the Pop Lab's a great memory for me, and I hope to see it run for many years.